I'm going to try and make this a quick one. I apologize, I've been sick today, and so I probably don't sound all that great. And I've spent most of today on the couch. But earlier today, they did announce they have cast another part in The Iron Claw, which of course is the movie about the Von Erich family. They have now cast the part of Ric Flair. And of course, Ric Flair, along with Harley Race, played a big part in the professional lives of the Von Erichs. Of course, it was Ric Flair that Kerry defeated at the David Von Erich Memorial Parade of Champions and to win the NWA World Title. So this is what I think is going to be a pretty significant part in the movie, and that part has gone to Aaron Dean Eisenberg. I gotta say, I'm not particularly familiar with Aaron Dean Eisenberg, but he has been has acting credits going back to about 2006. He had small parts in TV shows like Gossip Girl and True Bloods, Law and Order Special Victims Unit. More recently, he received praise for his role as Todd Lang in a show called The Deuce. And he was also in Dead Ringers, which was a vehicle for the Iron Claw writer and director Sean Durkin. So he has worked with Sean Durkin before. And for those of you that want to know about height, he according to what I could find, he stands about 6'1", so he's about the same height as Ric Flair as well. I like the fact that he is also an athlete in his younger years. He's originally from Spain, or more specifically the Canary Islands. And apparently in his younger years, I couldn't find specifically what he did. Amazon and a few other sources just said that he at one point was on the fast track to becoming a national athlete for the Canary Islands with a neck injury put an end to that. So he does have an athletic background, and I think that's a good thing. Other than that, I'm not really particularly familiar with him, but Aaron Dean Eisenberg has now been cast as Ric Flair. And of course, as I mentioned, he's the one that Kerry defeated for the world title at the Texas Stadium show. And of course, he goes way back. He feuded with David. David was set, that would have been David's win had David not passed away. He wrestled Kevin many times. I remember an April 1st show at the Sportatorium where Kevin, quote unquote, won the world title from Ric Flair, but then they reversed the decision. There's a story behind that too. So briefly, it looked like Kevin had won the world title, but they ended up taking it back away from him. And of course, he also had the 10-minute match against Mike Von Erich, which you're seeing here. That's one of those things. You can check out the 5 things video I did on that, clicking the icon in the upper right-hand corner. That's one of those matches kind of lost in time after David died. They just kind of didn't really bring that up anymore. But originally, Mike Von Erich had a 10-minute match against Ric Flair, and the deal was that if Mike beat Ric Flair or held him to a 10-minute draw, David would get the match for the world title with the disqualification rule waived. Because Flair was always getting himself disqualified, so he'd lose the match but keep the belt. And it was the match between Flair and Mike. And also he had actually also wrestled Lance at one point. I don't even remember that, but I've heard that brought up more recently. That's a huge part, I think, for this movie. Probably not going to be centered anything on Ric Flair, but that is kind of a significant fringe character, I guess, for the Von Erich story. Other than that, they did cast a small part in the movie, playing the role of what is listed as simply Nurse, is Victoria Harris, and she has been acting for about 5 years, has a lot of small parts. She plays a lot of her credits are nurse, opera attendee, restaurant customer, stuff like that. So I'm assuming that this is the nurse to Jim Gleason's doctor. I would imagine probably when Mike was in the hospital. That's probably the most significant hospital scene that there would be in the movie. So Victoria Harris has been cast as well. But like I said, the bigger news is Ric Flair, the role of Ric Flair being cast with Aaron Dean Eisenberg. And I keep meaning to bring this up, and I keep forgetting. I actually did mention the first still picture from an actual scene in the movie is Zac Efron as Kevin Von Erich. You'll see Hope McElhaney kind of in the back there. playing Fritz Von Erich. Kevin's opponent in this is being played by Chavo Guerrero Jr. And Chavo Guerrero Jr. does have that part in the movie. I don't know what his actual role is going to be, what the character name is. But he also is working with the actors, getting them ready for their in-ring scenes. So that's pretty cool, because when you think of Texas wrestling families, obviously the Von Erichs are in there. You think of the Funks, and you also think of the Guerreros. So that's pretty cool that Chavo Guerrero Jr. is going to be a big part of this movie, behind the scenes at least. Okay, we still don't have a Terry Gordy. We still don't have a Buddy Roberts. Still don't know who's going to be Chris. We don't have David Manning, Gary Hart, any of the other probable players in the Iron Claw. If you want to see who has been cast, I do have other videos. If you just stumbled across this, I've got a playlist. I'll leave a link to that at the end of the video. If you want to check out those other videos, check out the playlist, or check out one of the other videos on the channel. So please like, share, comment, and subscribe, not necessarily in that order. And I will see you next time.